कुमार स्वामी नायक है गोंगो लिबू लटो का रेडियो फीजी 2 में पुराना गाना लगे हमें बहुत अच्छा लगे
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
Good evening, Fiji. In this bulletin, over 15 breaches of single-use plastic bag recorded. There are fears that tourism industry will lose skilled workers. And seasonal ban shows positive results.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Jackie Spate.
Municipal markets have been identified as hotspots where vendors are failing to abide by the ban on single-use plastic bags. The Environment Ministry recorded around 15 breaches last month, just in the Central Division alone, which also included some retailers. This has prompted the ministry to beef up its surveillance to ensure there is no further breach of the ban. Josai Nanunga reports.
A spot check was carried out at the Suva Municipal Market yesterday, where the thickness of these plastic bags were measured.
Mostly markets, well, today it was an example. We went to the market, we were able to pick up one person. So it is primarily markets. Markets are hotspots. So we are also raising awareness through this restorative conference. So the vendors will be available, and we raise awareness, not just leave flyers, but also have potential warnings in place that if they re-offend, then the price to pay will be huge.
Legal advisor for the Suva United Market Vendors Association, Shobna Verma, says they welcome such visitations and awareness sessions from the ministry.
My vendors are aware as to what to buy and what not. Because if they buy the wrong things and the ban comes in immediately in force, they are on the losing side.
They have to be very specific regarding the usage of plastic, what type of plastic an individual should use.
The ministry reiterates that if a plastic manufacturing company is found guilty of breaching the Environment Management Act, then they are liable to pay a fine of up to $500,000 or face 7 years imprisonment or both. Josai Nanunga, FBC News.
The Fiji Immigration Department will announce major changes next week following the amendment of the Immigration, Citizenship and Passports Bill in Parliament this week. Ministry of Foreign Affairs Permanent Secretary Yogesh Karan says these changes are necessary. He says with the modern times, borders need to be made secure and more efficient. He says changes will also be made to the work permits and other permits offered by Fiji.
Anything that you pay for immigration, for any service that you want, there's a fee. There's a different fee for the same service if you want it done very quickly. Example, the certificate, the passports, now you pay a normal fee, but if you want it in a day, you pay a different fee. Also, if you want it in a weekend, you pay a different fee. So if somebody is required, to be airlifted urgently because the person is sick or so, we are able to do the passport in the weekend at any time.
Fijians who have suffered directly from the impacts of the pandemic are looking at their lives with renewed hope. Many of those who were working in the hospitality sector had lost their jobs, are now operating their own businesses. But this may be a disadvantage for the sector in the long run. Since these small and medium enterprises are already thriving, tourism workers may not want to return once borders open for the visitors. Kritika Kumar reports.
The Fiji Commerce and Employers Federation fears that once the tourism sector gets back on track, it may face shortage of skilled workers.
Their experience is needed back there. So we are hoping that these MSMEs or SMEs will be able to pass on their knowledge to others, and those others take over the business while they can go back to the hospitality industry. Yeah?
However, the Fiji Chamber of Commerce believes once businesses start to profiteer, they may not want to go back to their old jobs. President Dr. Nurbanu Ali believes the hospitality sector will have to recruit fresh graduates.
By the time it all opens, other people will be ready to apply. So it could mean, but they can carry on with the business if they want, or they can go back to their jobs and still carry on. I mean, we would encourage the more entrepreneurship, the better.
Prior to the pandemic, the hospitality sector employed about 48,000 Fijians. But as of June, this number has significantly decreased and now stands at 13,000. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
The Fiji Commerce and Employers Federation is being encouraged to produce a new guideline on safety nets due to a change in business environment following the pandemic. Speaking at the Federation's 60th anniversary today, former Chair Nesbitt Hazelman shed light on the many publications and reports they have produced. Vinina Rakautonga has more.
The FCEF has been reminded that now more than ever the business industry needs them.
We've done a full review and survey on the superannuation in Fiji and the safety nets, and I hope to see a guideline of that coming out soon, because COVID has really exposed us on the importance of safety nets.
President Sandeep Chauhan says during these times they need to go beyond the horizons.
And we assure you that we will go beyond the horizons to offer the best we can in order to enhance the service you provide to our fellow Fijians and their organizations.
Vice President of the board, Esetananda Kuitavuki, acknowledged the hard work and perseverance of its members.
I'd like to ask and plead the upcoming board members, the upcoming secretariat members to leave the purpose, the reason why FCEF exists, and that is to look after the interest of our members.
To date, FCEF has 9 standing councils, each with its own chair and members. Venina Rakotonga, FBC News.
The Fisheries Ministry believes the seasonal ban on kawakawa and donu from June to July was sufficient for the 2 species to reproduce. Minister Semi Koroi-Lavasau says they have received overwhelming response from the public on the decision to lift the ban. He adds the decision was made keeping in mind the plight of Fijians who rely on these species for sustenance, particularly in these times of uncertainty.
People have been very happy that it was lifted, I think, for source of income for the fishermen themselves. And I think a lot of people that enjoy eating kakao and don thought that lifting of the ban was quite timely, as it allowed them to trade, especially in restaurants.
Up ahead, City Council works with police to curb crime. And TISI Sangam prays for its work. Stay with us.
मैं तो दिल्ली में रहता हूँ और रेडियो फीजी रोज सुनता हूँ।
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन।
Uncontrolled fires continue to be the prime cause of damage to Energy Fiji Limited's infrastructure. Apart from being dangerous and life-threatening, fires cause unwanted power disruptions to EFL customers. Chief Executive Hasmukh Patel says replacing the burnt poles are expensive. EFL is urging cane farmers and residential customers to refrain from unsupervised burning and unnecessary burning of cane fields, bush and rubbish.
The power poles are pretty expensive. You know, this particular eucalyptus hardwood power poles, we get them from Australia. They can be anything between $2,000 to $3,000. But it's not the power pole cost only, because you got to take it, from our source in Lautoka. We need to have a crane truck, and we need to make an access road if the access roads have washed away to the side. So there's a huge cost involved in actually carrying out the work. But more so is the inconvenience to the customers and obviously the revenue that EFL loses.
The Suva City Council is committed to working with the Fiji Police Force to maintain a crime-free environment in the Central Business District. With more than 100 CCTV cameras installed, the Council now hopes to encourage retailers to help in the campaign. Vinina Rakautonga reports.
Tightening security measures in the hope of eliminating petty crime in the Central Business District is one of the main goals of the Council.
We have a very close assistance with the Police Community Service here in Suva. We have actually a daily meeting with them to share issues of common concern. And what we do is we have our CCTV in the market that is directly linked to the police post in Totong.
Special Administrator Isikeli Tikonduandua says apart from the police, they're also working with market vendors as well as bean and juice sellers.
One of the challenges that we face now is we need to work in collaboration with all other stakeholders. And we're talking to the Suva market vendors as well.
Local Government Minister Premila Kumar says a few other councils such as Nosori and Ba have taken a similar step.
Fiji Police Force, they have been having regular meetings with municipal councils around the country because they see municipal council as a strong partner in combating crime. And they know that the municipal councils will be able to provide some resources towards putting up of the CCTV camera.
Municipal council are encouraged to monitor and work in conjunction with the Fiji police to combat petty crimes. Venina Rakautonga, FBC News.
The TISI Sangam has been praised for its work and assistance to Fijians during these trying times. Speaking during their mini-convention in Nandi last night, football star Roy Krishna said the work by TISI Sangam has been immense, impacting the lives of many Fijians. Felipe Naikaso has more.
The hard work over the past few months by the TISI Sangam has not gone unnoticed as the organization was given its recognition.
We don't have to look too far back to see the good work you have done in the areas of education, especially considering the support for schools in providing lunch for the students to help in case the burden of the parents during this COVID-19 pandemic.
With restrictions on the number of people gathering at a particular place, the organizers decided to hold the mini-convention celebrating the history and culture of TISI Sangam.
However, we have taken this initiative to bring some happiness and to celebrate the culture, the legacy that was created by Sevak Ratnam, who initiated this program back in 1920, and from there on, the legacy continued, and in 1926, he gave birth to Sangam. The COVID-19 pandemic has definitely pushed us away beyond our comfort zones. I'm pleased to note that we have not taken this situation as a reason to take the back seat.
A number of cultural items were performed last night, highlighting Fiji's diverse ethnicity. Felipe Naikaso, FBC News.
Silver City was a hive of activity today as Fijians rushed to do last-minute shopping for Father's Day celebrations. Footwear, jewellery and clothing stores, as well as markets and supermarkets, were packed as people chose the best presents for their dads. Venina Rakautonga caught up with a few consumers who, although are going through some difficult times, are not hesitating to make tomorrow a special day.
Amidst the COVID-19 crisis and the situation we are facing, family time remains a priority for many.
Times are hard and we know we are all affected by this pandemic, but I have come down to make sure we make an effort to spend time with our loved ones.
Yeah, it is important because they raise us and role are very important.
Some believe that Father's Day should not only be attributed to fathers, but also to all mothers who play both roles.
The Father's Day is every day, you know, but one day coming like that, the Father's Day, everybody is celebrating.
I'll go to my mom's place to celebrate Father's Day there, and I wish every fathers happy Father's Day.
I will spend my Father's Day with my father and my mother. Happy Father's Day to all the father.
Father's Day will be celebrated tomorrow. Venina Rakautonga, FBC News.
Ahead in sports, Namosi outclassed by Suva in Skipper Cup and donation to help resume community sporting activities. Details after the break.
Pula nadang bawa prosan ngarse, ngor kraki, do televizyon na barong na Radio Fiji 1, nandomo ibiti.
Radio Fiji 1, nandomo ibiti.
The Ramsamy Suva side staged a strong second-half performance to beat Fairbrother Sullivan Trophy holders Namosi 37-12 today. The Namosi side had no answer for the Suva onslaught as the defending skipper champions gave the visitors a good run. Caroline Tavi has more.
The Namosi side set the platform just 5 minutes into the match when Santa Kaleveti Ravovo scored the first try after being set up by winger Vinaya Hambosi. However, Suva managed to find its rhythm and made it to the scoreboard through a try from former Fiji Sevens rep James Brown. Namosi replied with an intercept from inside Santa Ravovo, who ran 50 meters to score for the visitors. Suva's open side flanker Taniela Sandrongo and Fiji Sevens captain Melinder Nalangi scored 2 consecutive tries to give their capital side the lead in the first half. Suva ran riot in the second half with tries from Leone Nawai, Seterek Raomba and replacement centre Absalom Evota, who sealed the win with another try. The key to the win for the Suva side was getting the basics right.
Last week's game against Lotoka, we really learned a lot. Wanted to do some fancy stuff against Lotoka, but they came back, talked about it to get back to basic. And that was
Suva manager Nemani Tuifangalele says the forwards really stepped up today, which gave them the victory.
We're banking on our very strong forwards. I think when the forwards are very strong, the backlines can spark from anywhere on the ground, and that's what we do. We picked up from where we left off. We know that.
In other matches, Naitasiri defeated Yasawa 26-17, Nandonga edged Lotoka 10-8, and Tailevu drew 13-all against Nandi. Karleni Tavi, FBC Sports.
Kaiviti Silktails Rugby League coach Wes Ngama believes our local players have the potential to reach international level if they receive proper coaching. After observing the 2020 Fiji National Rugby League Vodafone Cup, the former Fiji Mbathi captain says Fiji has quality players who need proper guidance. With more than 20 teams participating in the weekly tournament, Ngama says he is working on selecting a pool of players for the Kaiviti Silktails team.
Obviously they have access to, there's a high level of coaching here, and we're getting better and growing as a game, like the obviously calibre of coaching and the players. So if we just continue to keep learning and growing it, there'll be a big improvement across the year.
The Melbourne Storms came from behind to edge out the Rabbitohs to seal a 22-16 win in round 17 of the NRL last night. The Bunnies pack dominated the first 40 minutes, but the try from Storms in the last minute of the game gave the Melbourne-based club the win. The Nasinu football side knows it will be a tough clash tomorrow as they take on Rewa in the Vodafone Premier League match at Ratadakambao Park in Nausori. The side plans to bounce back with a win over the Delta Tigers after holding Lautoka to a 1-1 draw last week. Currently ranked 6th in the VPL standings, the Giant Killers need a win to maintain their place in the Premier Division. Nasinu head coach Tangi Vonolangi says they have adjusted their style of play to match their opponent.
Well, Rewa has been a team that has played together for quite a while, and they have some national reps there, which is a bonus for them, and they have a good coach, and their style of play is different from our style of play, and that is one area that we want to work on.
The remaining matches of the OFC Champions League 2020 has been cancelled. OFC's executive committee has agreed to cancel it due to the border and travel restrictions caused by the coronavirus pandemic. Lautoka and Ba had qualified from Fiji, but they bundled out in pool stages. The OFC Champions League playoff matches were due to be played in April and May, but were delayed multiple times. The Uprising Rugby Centre in Pacific Harbour will now be able to continue its community-oriented activities, especially the training of young people. The centre received $25,000 assistance from the French Embassy yesterday. About 80 young people from around Pacific Harbour will now benefit from the program, with expertise from Frenchman and former Fiji Rugby Union coaching director Frank Boivert and Uprising Resort owner Renee Munch. Caroline Itavi has more.
While the program was disrupted due to the effects of COVID-19, the assistance of the French Embassy will help the centre get back on track.
Well, plain and simply, we're able to run programs. We're able to keep the youth engaged. We're able to keep our women's rugby program going, which was really starting to go really well just prior to COVID-19 and the restrictions and all that. So we're able to just see our dream and our plan continue to. Yep.
French Ambassador Jean-Francois Fiteau believes in these difficult times, it is only right to support Fiji in every possible way.
One of the many ways you can help ordinary people is rugby, because as you know, rugby is everywhere in Fiji. So we decided to help Uprising Rugby Centre, so that Uprising is doing a good job for the community around in Pacific Harbour area, basically, and we want to support this kind of thing, to give rugby for free to young people in Fiji.
The ambassador adds about 300 Fijians are playing professional rugby in France, and they will find new ways to support Fiji rugby ahead of the 2023 World Cup. Karleni Tavi, FBC Sports.
Basketball Fiji will officially kick off its first tournament at the end of this month. Chief Operating Officer Laisiasa Mao says the business house competitions are the first on their calendar. Karleni Tavi with the details.
More than 20 corporate organizations are expected to participate in the 7-week program.
In the month of September, we're also looking forward to restart the Business House Basketball competition that will begin on the 3rd week of this month. And we've already, we have a total of 20 corporate teams that will be participating in that 7-week competition.
Basketball Fiji is facing difficulties in booking the venues for the competition.
I think for the sport of basketball, one of our greatest challenges are venues. We are limited to 14 facilities here that we can hire in the country, and basically that's been our limitations.
To promote the sport, former Basketball Fiji rep Queenie Ratumayale believes they must target the grassroots level.
Need to be like more bull hoops program for the children to come. Like it's not only for competition, it's for just for kids having fun and learning more skills from the other coaches.
Basketball will be hosting similar programs like the Bulla Hoops around the country as part of their initiative to get the sport up and running again. Karleni Tavi, FBC Sports.
In weather, generally fine weather prevailed over most of Fiji today. Cool and cloudy conditions over the Central Division. A quick look at the weather map. Looking at the west, mainly fine conditions. It will be cool at night. Eastwards from Pacific Harbour to Suva, a mixture of sun and clouds with cool windy conditions were experienced throughout the day. And up north, mostly pleasant with sunny spells. At sea, southeast winds 20 to 30 knots, gusty at times, rough to very rough seas, moderate southerly swells. Turning to the tides, the next high tide is at 8:51 p.m. with low tide at 2:59 tomorrow morning. Sunrise is at 6:10. Now for tomorrow, expect cloudy periods with brief showers over the eastern parts and interior of the large islands. Mainly fine elsewhere, it will remain cool at night. And our further outlook, we're looking further on to Monday. Expect much of the same fine conditions to prevail. And recapping the main stories for tonight, over 15 breaches of single-use plastic ban recorded. There are fears that tourism industry will lose skilled workers. And seasonal ban shows positive results. Now for these stories and others, tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. Our poll question we're asking: should players who abuse match officials be banned from playing for life? Visit our FBC website to answer. And send us newsworthy pictures to fbcnews@fbc.com.fj, via Facebook page FBC News and our Twitter page at FBC_news. That's your news for tonight from the team and I. Have a safe and enjoyable evening, and we're wishing all fathers and single mothers across the country a happy Father's Day for tomorrow. Enjoy yourselves and be safe. Bye for now.
Bulla FM number 2 NSR.
Bulla FM number 2 NSR.